The war in Syria has produced what has been described as the greatest refugee crisis in a generation. But of course you know that because you can't turn on a television station or open a newspaper without reading something about it. With me today is a representative of a group who will be bringing another 4 refugees to Kingston. Now I've been hearing about town, about this Fresh Start organization. Can you tell us what that's all about?
Absolutely. It's a fairly small organization and a brand new organization. It's 5 local women who have gotten together. Some of us knew each other, and we just got together and started talking about some of the issues and challenges that we're all hearing these days on the radio about the very dire conditions and terrible things that are happening over in Syria, and decided we wanted to do something about it. And we've never had any experience in this space before, so it was a rather steep learning curve for us, but we decided we were up for the case and just took it upon ourselves to figure it out and find a way to sponsor a family to come here to Canada and to settle into Kingston.
Wow, so that's what you're going to do?
So that is what we are absolutely going to do. We have gotten through the first part of the processes and figuring out how one goes about sponsoring a family, and created the application forms as required, sent them in, and the process is underway. So we are very much in the middle of doing it right now.
Now, how long ago did you do that?
The application form itself was sent into the first processing office in Winnipeg at the first week in January. So it's fairly new in terms of, it's not that long ago, it's only a few weeks ago. But we did hear back from them already. We only waited 2 weeks before the answer came back from Winnipeg, telling us that the application had been approved, which was obviously a nice first big step for us. So it didn't come back asking for any changes or any corrections. It went through right away. And it has now been sent off to Jordan, where the refugee family is currently located, to the visa office there. So they're into the next phase and the next steps of processing it.
Wow.
So
what do you know about this family, or do you know anything about them?
Yes, we actually do know quite a bit about the family. They are a Syrian family, a very young Syrian family with 2 young children. And they've been persecuted, and they fled the country on foot with their 2 young children, carrying the little daughter in their arms and walking across the border. So they do fear for their lives, or did fear for their lives. Certainly, hopefully they're not in quite as dire a situation right now, but nevertheless they fled the country and have found some shelter in Jordan, and have been waiting there in the hopes of finding someone to sponsor them.
Are they educated people? Do they have a working knowledge of English? Do they know anything about Canada?
They will certainly have learned an awful lot about Canada in the last few weeks, perhaps a lot more than they had prior to that. But let me answer your question about are they educated and what do they know about English. I'm going to answer it by saying we think that this family is very worthy of coming to Canada. We think they're going to be a good fit, and they're going to be a good fit very quickly in Canada. We think they're going to be able to contribute a lot to our society. So we're very, very comfortable that this is a family that's going to settle in very quickly and get along. So they'll be fine when they get here. They'll be fine.
And when will that be?
Well, that's the interesting part. When we started this process up, and even when we first sent the application in early January, the information that we were working with at that time was that the waiting period was approximately 4 to 6 months for families from Jordan. So that was kind of what we were working with. But since that time, we have had some new information that the process has been considerably sped up, and we believe that we're now probably looking at only a few weeks away. So we've got information now that says that our family will probably be here in Kingston in early March. Wow. So that's a fairly big change.
Excess of riches, as they say. You get what you want and you get it quickly, and you wonder whether you're ready to receive it.
Yeah.
So lots of work, I would imagine, to get ready for people coming to Canada who I imagine have never been here before. Is that true?
No, that's absolutely correct. They've never been here before, so they've got a lot of things that they're going to have to learn about how to get around in the country. Just what is Kingston like? Where are things located? Where do they shop? Where do they live? How do they move around? Where do the children go to school or daycare? Like all of those things are going to be all new for this family. What does it cost to buy food? Where do they buy food? All of those things are going to be all brand new to them. So that's part of the process that we will be helping them with. To get them settled in so that they will, our goal of course is to get them to a point where they're able to function just like anybody else can function here in Canada. So we'll be working with them on those pieces.
So I'm going to suggest that you start with getting them 4 toques. Because if they're getting here this quickly, they're going to be chilly, and I'm guessing they won't be used to that.
Yes, I'm guessing that you're quite right. I think we had originally thought that the clothing that we were going to be looking for was going to be more oriented, at least initially, towards the summer months. But given this new set of information, I suspect we're going to be looking for a different set of clothing now that's going to be required for who knows what March brings, right? It's always unpredictable, so
that's right.
Could very well need the toques.
So then they get here. So let's say that you get what it seems that you're expecting, which is a March arrival. So what happens next? What do they do? I mean, they're straight off the plane. They come to Kingston, and what happens? Do you have your plan worked out for the day by day?
No, because so we've still got a lot of work to do on the plan, but I mean, we know the basic concepts of what has to be done, and we're also in need of volunteers to help us get some of this work done. So very much interested in anyone who would like to stick their hands up and come and help us.
But what would they do?
Well, for example, once we pick them up at the airport and bring them to either temporary lodging, depending on where we are, or to their permanent location, we have to be able to plug them into the community. We have to, for example, get them plugged into things like OHIP. We have to get them plugged into the medical community. We have to get them, we have to teach them about the transit system. How do they get around the city? Where do they go do their shopping? So we have to help them every single day learning how to get through the day-to-day activities. They're probably going to need to take English as a second language courses, and they're certainly going to have to be tested for it. That's a sort of a standard part of an arrival process for folks from whose first language is not English. So we will be getting them down to the facilities that provide those kinds of testing and provide them with that information on how to go through that kind of stuff.
So lots of room for lots of different kinds of support.
Tons and tons.
The whole thing sounds kind of, or at least potentially expensive as well. Is that something that you've worked out? How to cost all this out? How to pay for looking after this family for the next? while?
Certainly, absolutely the case. And when you apply to sponsor a family, to bring a family into Canada, there are essentially 2 ways, there are more than 2, but there are 2 basic ways that you can do that. It's either through a private sponsorship or through a blended visa sponsorship, which the blended visa is financially supported 50% by the government. So the government will pay 50% of the cost, and then you, the sponsoring group, will pay for the remainder of it. In the case of a private sponsorship, all of the funding is done by the people who are sponsoring.
And that's your kind of sponsorship.
And we are, yes, in this particular instance, we are doing a private sponsorship. So for a family of 4, the guidelines that are laid out through Immigration Canada are $27,000 for 1 year for a family of 4 is what's required.
So $27,000 is what you have to have in order to support this family for the next year.
That's correct.
So in addition to all the work that you're doing and the work that your volunteers will do, you have to come up with $27,000?
We have to come up with $27,000, that's correct.
So I take it you've got that in the bank, do you?
No, that would not be correct. That would not be good. No, we are working hard towards that, and we're certainly making progress on that front, but we are definitely not at end of job. So we do have fundraising that we need to do, so we need to collect some more money. And we also feel that $27,000, as you can well imagine, is not a lot of money to support a family of 4 in a country like Canada. And so we feel we may need to supplement that a little bit, maybe not too much, but we may need to do a little bit of extra supplementing there. And we may also incur some expenses as part of doing this too. So 27 isn't the last number that we're looking at.
So if somebody wanted to, wasn't able to help you as a volunteer, and they wanted to maybe to contribute financially, you wouldn't turn them away? Is that what I'm hearing?
Definitely would not turn them away, would most welcome any kind of a financial donation.
And how would they connect with you to do that?
A couple of different ways that they can connect. We certainly have a website where you can go in and do an online donation directly to us. We have a partnership with the Anglican Diocese of Ontario, and that has given us access to a charitable number. So that means that any donations over $20 are eligible for a charitable tax receipt.
For the full amount?
Yeah, absolutely, for the full amount. So if you give $100, then that $100 is eligible for as a charitable donation. So you get a tax receipt for that. So you can do it online or through our website, or there's also information on our website about how, if you prefer, to just mail a check in. And the information is all sitting there on how you can mail a check in.
Well, I'm very appreciative of what you're doing. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I expect at the end of it all, you're going to have some very, very good friends from Syria.
Oh, I certainly.
Maybe lifelong friends.
Yeah, that would just be a wonderful outcome. If hopefully we will get to that point, and well, I'm confident that we will get to that point. And yes, I believe that this is a family that's going to do well in this country. I think they're going to do well in Kingston. Actually, I think it's a good location for them. I hope that there's going to be some good, strong bonds with myself and the other women. I mean, I'm not alone in this. We're a group of 5 that are all working hard to do this, and many, many, many people out there helping us. So we've got lots of things.
Maybe after this family's settled in, maybe you go for another one?
Well, it's not out of the question. It's not out of the question, and it really all depends on how well the financial part of it goes. There are a lot of other groups looking to do the same thing, but so we need to keep the momentum going around the financial part of it, and continue to work on the fundraising pieces and get those donations coming in so that we can hopefully bring another family in. That would be wonderful if we could do that.
What's this I hear about some kind of performance in support of your
Yes, indeed. One of the things that we are doing to help us do some fundraising is we have scheduled in a concert Saturday, February 13th at 7:30 p.m. up at the Octave Theatre, 711 Dalton Avenue.
Nice venue.
It's a very, very nice venue. I understand it's one of the preferred venues in Kingston. It's quite lovely. And it has been donated to us, by the way. So the French Cultural Centre has just been wonderful. It's just been great to work with. But yes, we do have a concert scheduled and a great performance lined up. John Rossile has produced the show, and he's pulled together just a great set of performers. We've got Chris and Dee from a local couple from Toronto, from Kingston, which I believe is they're fairly well known in the area. We've also got the eccentric vocal ensemble known as Eve, and they're an a cappella group. Just greatly talented people there. They're just really awesome to listen to. We've got Jones and Aylesworth, and a little bit of a sneak drip here. They're doing some Beatles stuff, so that should be a fun part of the show. We've also got Kyoko Goda, who is, she's traditionally a drummer, but I think she's doing something a little bit different this time around, so that could be kind of fun. Divas, duets, and quartets coming in at the very end with another great set of repertoire in there. So it should be a great concert. $35, and 100% of that is going towards the benefit. Like we have not incurred any expenses in here. So all of that money is going straight towards the family needs.
Still some tickets left?
There are tickets left. Absolutely, there are tickets left. You can buy them online at the Octave Theatre, French Cultural Centre, and or you can contact me. I've certainly got lots of tickets.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you about this, Carol. Thank
you so much.